Yeah, so I kind of like The Office, so here's the rhyme for today. Um, a few characters from The Office are Dwight, Jim, and Kevin. Now let's build daily interaction number 37. Hello and welcome to another daily interaction series. So I've decided that I'm not going to be as formal as I've been in my other videos. I'm doing so many of these that I'm just going to let it hang out a bit. If I make mistakes, just let me know in the comment section if there was something that I went over that wasn't clear. And I want this to be more of a dialogue than me just making these videos and posting them every day. I do understand that I'm covering a lot of information, so there is a lot of content. So yeah, if we can make this more of an open dialogue where, I make these videos, and if you have any questions or feedback, you can let me know in the comments section. But yeah, I can't worry about perfection in every single video. This is my 37th daily interaction. So it's just going to be probably a bit more laid back for all these videos, but trying to cover as much information as I possibly can, without worrying if I didn't click the right button and things like that. So I just wanted to say that as a disclaimer. I want to have fun with these videos. I do enjoy sharing this information, so I want to make it fun for myself as well as I'm doing these videos. Yeah, so that was just a quick introduction. This is daily interaction number 37. And it's a really cool one today. So here, as you can see, we have this menu. I started off with the menu there, but this is what the site looks like initially. We have the background. It says let's cook. So it's kind of a cooking theme for this one. And when we click on the demo, we have kind of it's called a multi-part, or I called it a multi-part menu, where we have two sides, and they're coming in, and then we have some content within the menu. So I click again, it fades out, and when you first click, it comes in. So we have this menu here on the left. These topics here, you could actually link it out like within the Webflow content management system. So it's like a little blog. So if you had a blog on your site, you could have the user see the latest topics when they open the menu. So I think that's really fun there. And then some social media icons here. So we are going to be using CSS Grid for this multi-part menu, this full screen multi-part menu. So this is what we will be building today. I'm going to go a bit quick through all the steps because there is a lot to this menu, or a few different steps. So yeah, this is what we will be building today. To view more daily interactions and premium content, visit webdevforyou.com. Also, be sure to click on that subscribe button below to receive a notification every time I release a new daily interaction, which is pretty much every day, except the weekends, because I do need a break. But yeah, I enjoy sharing this information with you. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so here I have a blank Webflow project, and we're going to start with the daily interaction class naming convention. So we're going to build out all the elements first, and then we're going to add the interaction. So we'll start with the daily interaction class naming convention. So it's d dash the daily interaction number. So today is 37, and then the element. So every element on the site will have a d dash 37 in front of it, and this is for consistency purposes, and so that we know we're working with daily interaction number 37. Okay, so the first thing I'll do is add a section, and we'll add the background image to the section. So I'll add an element, I'll add a section, and I'll give it the class name d-37 section. And we'll set the height to 100 VH, so it spans the full height of the viewport, and it will be the full width as well. And then I'll scroll down to background, and here I'll add a background image. So I'll select this here, and I'll choose an image, and I'll choose this image here, and I'll set it to cover and position it in the center. And I don't need it to be tiled, so I'll say none for tile, and I don't want it to be fixed, so the X here for fixed. And that's it. So if I preview, we already have a background image. That simple. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is add the menu trigger. So to open the menu, if we go to the demo, this is the trigger here. I'm not going to get this fancy for this video, just so we can save a bit of time and get right into building the menu. So within the section, I'm going to add a div block. So I'll add an element, I'll add a div block, and I'll give it the class name d-37 menu trigger. So this is going to be the trigger that's going to open the menu. Okay, so for the width, I'm going to say 50 pixels by 50 pixels, and the background color, we'll just give it a background color here. I'll say blue, and yeah, that'll be it for the menu trigger. And I'll just give it some, let me undo that, select the menu trigger. And yeah, for the menu trigger, I actually want to set it to a position of absolute and top left. So we can kind of move it around on its own. And there we go. So yeah, and I'll set the section to a position of relative. So anything inside of it will be relative to it. And I do want this menu trigger to be relative to the section. Okay, so yeah, the section has a position of relative, and the menu trigger has a position of absolute, top left, and width and height of 50-50, and background color of blue. So that'll be the menu trigger there. It's not that visible, so let's do something else here. Let's set it to white and just give it a border. We'll set the border to 3 pixels, and we'll set it to blue. Okay, so that'll be the menu trigger there. I'm not going to add the cross because that'll take a bit more time. But yeah, we just need an element to act as the menu trigger. Okay, so that's done. The menu trigger is done. So let's add the menu to the section, or actually we're going to add the menu to the body. So the menu is going to be fixed. So no matter where the user is on the website, they'll be able to click on the menu. So here I'll go into the navigator right up here. I'll select the body. I'll add an element. I'll add a div block, and I'll give it the class name d-37 menu wrapper. Okay, and for this, I'm going to set the position to fixed, and I'm going to say full. So it fills the entire viewport, and it'll always be fixed in the viewport. And then for the background, I'm going to give it a background color of, actually, it's not going to have any background color. So yeah, we're not going to give it a background color. We want it to be transparent because we're going to have this white background and this black background here for the menu. So for this menu wrapper, I'm going to start using CSS Grid. So CSS Grid is kind of a new feature in Webflow, which is super powerful and allows us to make really cool layouts within Webflow. So here with the menu wrapper selected, under display setting, I'm going to select grid. So I'll select it, and we have this grid here. So we have columns and rows, right? So similar to tables, but you know, kind of light years ahead of tables because you can do a lot more responsive stuff with it. So for this grid, yeah, I only need two columns and 1 row because yeah, if we look at the demo, we have these 2 columns, so this left and right column. So here where it says rows in the grid, I'm just going to delete the second row right here. And one thing I'm going to do instead of auto here for the row, I'm going to set it to 100 VH. I learned this through experimentation, but when it was set to auto on smaller devices, the menu wouldn't be the full height of the viewport. So here I'm just setting it to 100 VH to make sure that it fills the entire height of the viewport. Okay, and then for the gap, I don't want any gap right up here. So instead of 16 pixels, I'm going to say 0. So there's no gap between these 2 columns. And then for the left column, so it's using the FR unit, which is the fraction unit. And it, you can play with this. You can just move it around like this, which is what I'll do. So, notice that the left is 0.5 and the right is 1. So that's what I want for these 2 columns. The left one is 0.5 FR and the right one is 1 FR. So now we have these 2 grids, so we can populate it with content. So this is the layout for the grid, and we want to place things inside of it. So we have the left side and the right side. So I'm going to add an element. I'm going to add a div block. So I'll just click, hold, and drag and place it on the left. And this div block fills that entire grid, that entire grid space. So it fills the entire column. And for this, I'll just give it the class name d-37 menu wrapper left. Okay, so let's take a 5-second break because I've just covered a lot of information. Just talking about grid, so I'm gonna pace myself. Okay, all right, so menu wrapper left, good, okay. So for menu wrapper left, I'm going to give it a background color of white, okay. So there we have the left, and that's all we need to do there. And now we want to add the menu wrapper right. So I'm going to add an element. I'm going to add a div block and place it on the right side. And I'm going to call this d-37 menu wrapper right. Okay, and I'm actually going to call this menu wrapper overflow right. It's kind of a long class name, but this is basically going to it's going to hold the right wrapper, because in the demo, we have the right side is coming in from left to right, but notice we don't see it from the left. So we need an overflow wrapper so that we don't see anything outside of it. The left side, we didn't need to do that because it's already coming in from the left and we don't see anything from the left. But because the right side, there's the left space, we don't want it to be visible on the left. Okay, it'll be a bit more clear when we add the interaction. Okay, so that's the overflow, the menu wrapper overflow right. So for this, I want to set an overflow of hidden and a position of relative, because we're going to add an absolute position div and we want it to be relative to this right wrapper. I sound like a complete nerd. That's okay. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. All right, so we have the menu wrapper overflow right. So now I'm going to add the menu wrapper right inside of this overflow wrapper, and it'll start to make a bit more sense. So I'll add an element, I'll add a div block, and I'll call this d-37 menu wrapper right. Okay, and for this I'm going to set it to a position of absolute and full, so it fills the entire menu wrapper overflow right. And then for this I'm going to give it a background color of almost black, but not quite, so it's going to be #111, and there we go. So we have the left side and the right side. So rather than using columns and things like that, we're using CSS Grid, which is a super fun and super cool tool to use in Webflow. All right, so now we want to populate the left and right side with content. So for the menu wrapper left, so now we're going to use a combination of CSS Grid and Flexbox. So for the menu wrapper left, I'm going to go into the display setting, set it to flex, set it to horizontal, justify center, and align center. So we're going to place a menu item wrapper inside of this left wrapper. So we can add the menu here. So with the menu wrapper left selected, I'm going to add an element. I'm going to add a div block, and notice it's in the center, thanks to Flexbox. And I'm going to give it the class name d-37 menu item wrapper. Okay, so inside of this wrapper, I want to add the link blocks. And I also want to go to element settings, and for the tag, I'm going to set it to a nav tag, because the link blocks are going to go in here, and I want the structure of the site to know that this is the nav for the site. So search engines will know that this is the navigation for the site and not some header, but this specific menu item wrapper. It's going to have all the links for the menu for the site. Okay, so another 5-second break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, maybe 5 seconds is enough, but definitely pause the video if you need to pause it. Menu item wrapper. So now I'll add an element. I'll add a link block, and I'll call this d-37 link block. And for this, I'm going to give it a display setting of flex, vertical, justify center and align center, because we're going to have the menu item text and the menu item underline. And also for the link block, so let's look at the navigator real quick. It shows us the structure of the site. So I'm going to go ahead and click into the menu item wrapper. And for the menu item wrapper, I want to set a display setting of flex, vertical, justify center, no, align center, and justify, or we can do align stretch. That'll be fine as well. There, or no, we want to do center. So justify center and align center. Okay, so let's go back into the menu, into the link block. So here we have the link block selected, and in the link block, I'm going to add the text and the underline. So I'll add an element, and I'll add a text block, and I'll give it the class name D-37 menu item text. And for this, we notice it has like that blue color with an underline. So I don't want that to be there. So the reason this is happening is because the text is in a link block. So Webflow is giving it the hyperlink styling. So what we need to do is select the link block in the navigator and go to styles, go to typography, and for the underline, say none. So it doesn't have an underline. Okay. And that's all we need to do. So now I'll go back into the menu item text. I'll double click on it, and I'll rename this to home. Or let's see what we have here. Yeah, home. And I'll go into styles, and for the font, I'm using Nunito for the font. And yeah, it's a Google font, so you can install it from the Google fonts in Webflow. If you have any questions about that, let me know. For the color, I'm going to set it to black. And let's see what I did for the font size. Let's just go into the demo. And the font size is 44. The line height should be bigger than 44. So yeah, we'll say 44 for the font. The line height, we'll say 46. And we'll make it light. Okay, so Nunito light. It has a font weight of 300. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now let's add the underline. So there's a very thin underline here. If I were to add the underline here in the typography, it adds kind of a thick line, which is not what I really want for this. So let me take a breather real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right. So yeah. Now, yeah. So we don't want an underline for this. So I want to add an underline within the link block. So I'll select it here. I'll add an element, I'll add a div block, and I'll give it the class name D-37 menu item underline. So notice it goes below the text, and that's because we set the display setting to vertical center center for the link block. And actually for the link block, let's set it to stretch. Yeah, so that this div block spans the full width of the link block. And the link block is inheriting its width from the menu item text because it has a position of auto. Position, auto here. So it inherits the width from its children elements. Okay, so let's go to the menu item underline. And the height, I'm going to set it to 1 pixel, so it's really thin. And the width is already the full width. So the color, I'm going to set it to black. And let me just see how that looks. So you can't see it. So let's set it to 2 pixels. Or actually, no, I set the background color needs to be black. And I'll set it back to 1 pixel. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I like the distance from the menu item. And I actually think that this underline, I'm in the demo here, this underline has an opacity. Yeah, so it's really thin and has an opacity of 20%, so it's barely visible, but it's just there. I think it's a nice touch. But yeah, it's just a styling thing. You can, choose any styling for the underline. So now we have the menu item. So let's copy and paste this 6 more times to have all the menu items. So I'll hit Command-C to copy the link block, and in the menu item wrapper, I'll paste till I have 6 menu items. Then I'll select the link block, and I'll hold down Alt to add some top and bottom margin, so maybe 10. And let me look at the names here. So home, recipes, cookbook, vision, the team. So home, recipes, what was it, cookbook? Yeah, cookbook, vision, and the team, and contact. Okay, so I'm just replicating the demo here. And I'm noticing in the demo that the text is on the left, is justified left and not centered. So we just want to select the menu item wrapper, and rather than justify center or align center, we want to align left. So I'll select it here, and that's it. So we have the menu and looks good. So this is the next kind of exciting part. So within grid, you can add the grid display setting to elements inside of a grid. So it's like you can have grids inside of grids inside of grids, and just have like a mind explosion of layout options. So here I'll select the menu wrapper right, and I'm gonna apply a grid setting to it. So with it selected, I'm gonna select grid, and for this grid, I want to have 3 rows and 1 column. So in the columns, I'll delete the second column, and I'll duplicate the row here. So we have 3 rows like this. So in the demo, we have let's cook in the first row, we have the latest topics in the second row, and the social media in the third row. So I'm going to I might move a bit quickly through this. I might not add all the elements so that we can move into the interaction, but I just want to showcase the power of grid and you know, working with these layouts using grid. So for the top, I'm going to add a div block and just place it in the top, and I'm going to call this D-37. I'm going to call it menu right first. So this is going to be the first, I'll say first row. It's a long class name, but just so we stay clear as to what we're working with. So this is the first row. For this, I'm going to set a display setting of horizontal, justify right, and align top. So it goes in the top. I'll add an element. I'll add a text block. It's right in the top there, so that's good. And I'll call this D-37 first row text. Let's see, for the text, yeah, Nunito, and then I'll set it to white, and I'll just type in, let's make it all capital for text transform. I'll say all capital, and I'll just type in let's cook. Okay, and I'll give it some margin from the top, so maybe like 15 from the, and maybe 30 from the right. So there we go. So yeah, I'll just enter it here, 30. Okay, so I'll preview. We have let's cook in the top, so looks good. So let me add another div block, and what did I call this? Menu right for, okay. Then I'll add another div block. I'll place it in the second grid row, and I'll call this D-37 menu right second row. Okay, so for this, it's a little bit more complex. So we have latest topics, then we have this image wrapper, or these, this is actually a link block. We have some images and some text. So let me see how quickly I can do this without taking too much time here within the video. So for this, I'm gonna set the display setting to flex, set it to vertical, justify left, or align left, and yeah, justify top. That looks good. So I'll add an element. I'll add a, or let me just copy this text here and I'll paste it, because, you know, and I could call this actually, we'll just call it menu right text. Okay, instead of first row, because we're going to use it in a few different sections here. And I'll call this latest topics. And then in this second row, I'll add a link block, and I'll give it the class name D-37. We'll call it latest topics wrapper. And for this, let's see. Yeah, for this, I want to give it a display setting of flex, justify left, and align center, and yeah, and set it to horizontal. Okay, then I'll add another div block, and I'll call this D-37 latest topics image, and I'll give it a background image, choose an image, and I'll set it to this one here, set it to cover, center, doesn't need to be tiled and doesn't need to be fixed. And I'll give it a specific width and height, so I'll say something like 100 by 100, or maybe the width of 200, and a height of maybe 150. Let's see what I set it here. 150 by 100. So 150 by 100, and perfect. And then in the latest topics wrapper, so right here, we're going to we'll add a paragraph. So there we have a paragraph, and I'll just delete this here. Let's go ahead and style it. So let me select the latest topics wrapper, and for the link block, because it's a link block, it has the hyperlink styling, so I'll say none for the underline. Then I'll select the paragraph, and I'll call this D-37 latest topics P for paragraph, and we'll give it the font type Nunito, and the color we'll set it to white. Font size of 14 and line height of 20 is okay, and I'll just say cookies and coffee. Okay, and I'll give it some left margin so it's not so close, and looks good. So I'm just going to copy and paste this latest topics wrapper. So we have two, and I'll add some bottom and top margin, so I'll hold down Alt, and perfect. And then for the entire, let me collapse this. For the entire menu wrapper right, I'm just going to add some margin to the left, or some padding, I should say. Padding to the left, so it's not so close to the first one. So something like 40, and that looks good. So we have Let's Cook, we have the latest topics. I'll go ahead and give this topics image a combo class of 2, so we can change the background image, and I'll change it to this, and then I'll change the text here to too much salt. Okay, so far so good. It's looking good. So the last div block here, I'm going to add an element. I'm going to add a div block for the last row, and I'm going to call this D-37 menu. What did I call these ones? Yeah, menu. Yeah, so let's try that again. D-37 menu right third row. Okay, and for this has the social media. So I'm just going to copy this text right in there, and I'm going to say follow us. Okay, and then I'll add a social media wrapper in here. So yeah, and for this div block, I'll set it to vertical, justify top, and align left. And I'm going to add another div block in here and say D-37 social media wrapper, and I'm going to set a display setting to flex horizontal, justify left, and align center. And I'll add a link block, and I'll call this D-37 social media icon. And yeah, I think that's all I have to do there. And then let's add, or actually let's delete this. No, wait, that's the link block. So social media wrapper, yeah, that's the link block. And inside of this link block, we're going to add an element and add a text block. Okay, and I'm going to call this D-37. I'm just going to say icon. I'll just call it social icon. There we go. And yeah, so let me see, social media icon. Let me call the social media icon social media link block, so we know it's the link block. And the text here is going to be social media icon. Okay, so for this, the typography is going to be font awesome brands, and then we'll just go to fontawesome.com real quick, and I'll type in let's do dribble. I like dribble. Then I'll click here, and right here for dribble, I'll click on the copy Unicode glyph, go back into Webflow, and paste it in here, or actually, yeah, so let's see. Yeah, click to copy Unicode glyph, not this here. The icon, click to copy, yeah, so the dribble icon, I'll paste in here, and yeah, there we go. So make sure, I do have a premium content video on how to use Font Awesome in Webflow, but it's pretty straightforward. You just need to install the custom Font Awesome icons in Webflow. And then for the icon, select FA brand 400. Then for the color, I'll set it to white, and I'll make the icon a bit bigger and the line height a bit bigger. Okay, and let's give it a specific width and height. So I'll say 50 by 50, and give it a display setting of horizontal center. And for the social media link block, we will remove the underline, and there we go. And then I also want to give it a border radius for the social media icon. I'll set it to solid here for the border, set it to white, and give it a border radius of 50%, so it's a perfect circle. And I'll definitely make the icon a bit smaller. So let me go in here, and something like 24 and 30. Okay, so yeah, there we have the icon. Let me do like a Twitter icon actually, because we have kind of a circle and a circle. So I'll select Twitter, copy the Unicode glyph, and just paste it in there. So we have Twitter. Okay, and I'll give it some top margin to the link block, something like 10. And I'll just copy the link block, the social media link block. Let's see if I can preview it a bit better. So let me collapse all. Menu wrapper right, so the third row. So I'll copy the social media wrapper, and for the menu right third, copy the link block, and in the social media wrapper, paste till I have 4 social media icons. And I'll select the social media link block and add some left and right margin of like 10 pixels. Okay, so yeah, so far so good. And we'll make it kind of a bit smaller there. Yeah, you could go into Font Awesome and add all the icons, so like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just be sure to copy the Unicode glyph, and then in Webflow, just paste in here, and then we'll do Instagram. Okay, and copy the Unicode glyph and paste in there, and then we'll do dribble. Yeah, we'll do dribble again, and copy the Unicode glyph. All right, and I'll paste right in there. Okay, so if I preview, it's looking good. So yeah, for this first one, yeah, and actually for the social media link block, let's remove the left margin and just add a right margin so it aligns with the text. And there we go. And I'll give the wrapper a bit more, a bit more margin. So let's remove the margin from the link block and add it to the wrapper. Let's say 20. Okay, so yeah, there we go. So this video is going to be kind of long. Hopefully that was all clear. Definitely let me know in the comment section if it wasn't. But yeah, now we can add the interaction. So we've built out the multi-part menu. We just need to add the interaction. So to add the interaction, we want to make sure that we can select the menu trigger. So notice we can't select it, and that's because it's behind the menu. So we want to select the menu trigger here, and we want to give it set the Z index to something higher than 0, so like 99, so it comes to the front. So yeah, just go to menu trigger and set the Z index to 99, and now we can select it here. All right, so yeah, let's take a quick breather. If you've gotten this far, congratulations. We just did a lot of kind of building out of a menu and using CSS grids and Flexbox within Webflow. Okay, so a breather of 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I don't know why I'm picking 5. Probably not to spend too much time, just to keep it moving for the video. Okay, so let's look at what we're going to do for the interaction. So if we go to the demo, basically the left and the right are coming in, from left to right, and the menu is moving in from the bottom right. So it's kind of like fading in from the bottom right. So there's not too many steps to the interaction, but there are a few things that we want to be aware of. So with the menu trigger selected, let's go into interactions. Here for the element trigger, we'll add a new interaction, and we'll say mouse click or tap. So when we click or tap on the menu trigger, we want the menu to open. So I'll select it here, and on first click, we'll start an animation, and I'll add a new timed animation. So I'll click the plus, and I'll say D-37 first click. Okay, so initially, what I want to happen is I want this menu item wrapper to start 50 pixels to the right and 50 pixels down. So it comes in diagonally, and I want the opacity to be set to 0%. So here with the menu item wrapper selected, or I can select it here in the navigator, I'll add a new timed action. So I'll click the plus, I'll say move, and let me actually add some more real estate here. So I'll move it, horizontally 50 pixels and vertically 50 pixels. And then I'm going to set it as the initial state, so it initially starts in that position. And then I'm going to set the opacity to 0%, so we don't see it initially. And I'll set it as the initial state. So initially we don't see the menu item wrapper, and then we're going to have it fade in and move diagonally. Okay, and then we want the menu wrapper left to start 100% to the left, so we can have it come in from left to right. So I'll say move for the menu wrapper left, and on the x-axis horizontally we'll say negative 100% to move it all the way to the left. And then we want to set it as the initial state, so that's where it is initially. And then here I'll go to the navigator, and I want to select the menu wrapper right, not the menu wrapper overflow right, but the menu wrapper right. Okay, so so with menu wrapper right selected, I'll go into interactions, I'll say move, and I'll move it negative 100%, and there we go. So notice what happens. We don't see it because it's in an overflow wrapper, and the overflow wrapper is set to hidden, so anything outside of it will not be visible. So that's why we needed to add that wrapper. So because the menu wrapper right doesn't go all the way off the screen, we needed that overflow so we don't see it on the left side here. Okay, so for this, I also want to set it as the initial state. And I think that's it. That's all we need to do for that. And also this next part is very important. We want to select the entire menu wrapper, and we want to give it a display setting. So in the timed action, we want to give it a display setting of hide show, and we want to set the display setting to none. Okay, so the reason we're doing this is because even though we can't see the contents inside of the menu wrapper, it's still in front of other elements on the site, and it would block the user from interacting with the site because the elements are behind the div block. So we want to make sure the display setting is set to none. So it's almost as if that menu wrapper isn't even on the site initially. So we'll set the display setting to none, and for the timing, I'll set it as the initial state. Okay, so I believe that's all we need to do. So hopefully that's it. So let's go ahead and bring all the elements back in. So the first thing we need to do is add a new timed action and say hide show, and set the display setting back to grid, because that was the initial display setting the display setting was actually, it was grid actually. Let me go back in here, menu wrapper. It's grid. Okay, so let's go back into the interaction. So we want to set it to a display setting of grid. So it brings the menu item. Oh, I'm selecting the menu item wrapper there. We would need the menu wrapper. So menu wrapper, add a new timed action, say hide show, and set it back to grid. There we go. So I couldn't see it in the designer, so I knew something was a bit off there, but let me take a quick breather. Okay, yeah, so menu wrapper, we selected the menu wrapper and set it back to grid, so it comes back in. And then we want to bring the menu left and right from a position of negative 100% back to 0%, so it goes back to the initial position. So I'll go into the navigator, and I'll select the menu wrapper left, go into interactions, and I'll say move, and I'll bring it back on the x-axis back to 0%, so it comes back in. For the easing, I'll say ease out expo, and a duration of 0.5 is okay. So next, I want to go into the navigator, select the menu wrapper right, not the overflow right, but the menu wrapper right. Add a new timed action, I'll say move, and I'll move it back to 0% on the X, set the easing to ease out expo, and a duration of 0.5 is okay. Then I'm going to click, hold, and drag and place it on top of the menu wrapper left, so both the left and the right start at the same time. So here they're going to start together. So if I preview and I click, boom, perfect. Okay, so now I want to bring the menu item wrapper back to its original position and have the opacity go to 100%. So I'll select in the menu wrapper left, I'll select the menu item wrapper, and I'll add a new timed action. I'll say move, and move it on the X 0 pixels and on the Y 0 pixels. Add an easing of ease. So for this, I'm just going to do ease, and I'm going to start it with the movement of the other wrappers. So you can play with the timing. You can have things start together and add a delay, or you can have things kind of go one after another. It all depends on what you're going for and the smoothness of your interaction. And this can happen either by starting things together and setting the easing to get a really fluid animation. Okay, so also for the menu item wrapper, we want to set the opacity to 100% so it comes back in, and the easing, I'll say ease, and I'll click, hold, and drag to start it with all the other timed actions here. So now I'll preview, I'll click, and that's a bit quick. So let's set the menu item wrapper, the duration, let's set it to 1 second. And let's preview, I'll click, and that looks good. So it fades in and everything comes in. So that's it. That's all we have to do for the first click. So for the second click, we're going to have everything go in reverse. So I'll close this here. And on second click, we're going to start an animation. I'm going to duplicate the first click because it has a lot of the elements we need for the second click. So here I'll click the 3 dots. I'll say duplicate, and I'll select the first D-37 first click 2, and I'll rename this to D-37 second click. Okay, and I'll delete all of these timed actions or all of the initial states, because we already set that for the first initial state, so we don't need it for the second one. So, or the second click. So I'll delete all the initial states, and perfect. So for this, we just want to have everything go in reverse. So the menu wrapper hide show, I'm going to bring it to the bottom. So that's the last thing we're going to do. The menu wrapper left, we're going to move it back to negative 100%. The menu wrapper right, we're going to move it back negative 100%. 100%. And actually, let me just change that really quick. Let's do 0. Let's move the menu item wrapper first. So for the menu item wrapper, so we can see it, move it 50-50 on the X and the Y, and the opacity, we'll set it back to 0%. I just wanted to do that first so we could see it change here in the designer. And then we'll move the menu wrapper left, negative 100%, and the menu wrapper right, we'll move it negative 100%. So the timing and the easing we can leave the same, so it has the same kind of easing. And that's it. And then for the menu wrapper hide show, here we'll say the display setting back to none. So it's almost as if it's not on the site, and the user can interact with the menu again. So now I'll preview, I'll click, comes in, click again, and it goes out. And actually, I have a different animation for the out. So here in the demo, when I click, it comes in, and when I click again, it actually fades out. So let's do that. I kind of like that effect a bit better. So I can delete all of these, and I'll just select the menu wrapper, and I'll add a new timed action, and I'll just set the opacity to 0% so it fades out. Pretty simple. The duration, 0.5 is okay, and we'll just give it an easing of ease, and that's it. So when I click, it opens, and when I click again, it fades out. When I click, oh, and we also have to, so let me undo that. So I did make a mistake. So I did say that at the beginning of the video, that if I do make a mistake, we're just gonna keep rolling, okay? So yeah, so everything we did was okay, but the only thing we need to do is put the hide show before all of this, and then at the top we're gonna add an opacity of 0%, and we're gonna set the easing to ease. Okay, so what's happening here? Basically, we're fading out the menu, then we're hiding it so the user can interact with the menu behind it, and we're also moving everything back to its original position. So the reason this bottom part is important is because everything needs to go back to its original position before it can start again, right? So first click, everything is set to the left and moved, and then it comes in, and then on second click, we're fading out, but we still need to add those timed actions so it goes back to the original state. Otherwise, it stays in place and the menu doesn't reiterate the interaction. So we do need to move the menu wrapper to the left and the right, move it negative 100%, and we need to move the menu item wrapper 50-50 on the X and Y, and have the opacity set back to 0. So it kind of resets the entire menu so it can play again. Okay, so now I'll preview. I click, comes in, click again, it fades out, and then we don't see it, but behind the scenes, everything actually moved back to its original position. So when I click again, it's not working. So let's see what we did. And this is because we also need to set the menu wrapper. So I'll select the menu wrapper here in the navigator. We need to give it an opacity of 100% again, so it comes back in. So for this, I'll just start it with the other ones. And we actually don't need any timing for this. So I'm gonna set it all to 0 for the duration. So it just goes back to its original position. So all of these can have a duration of 0 because we just need to have them go back to the original position. And now I think it should work. So I'll click, it comes in, click again, it fades out, click again, it comes back in. Okay, so hopefully that was clear. So we have the menu wrapper fade out, then we have it set the display to none so we can interact with the site behind the menu wrapper div block. So it's almost as if it's not on the site. And then we want to move everything back to its original position and set the opacity of the menu back to 100% so we can see it the next time it comes in. So I know it's a lot, but yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. These are all good web design concepts to kind of have in your bag as you're building sites. You just want to be aware of bringing things back in. You could bring the menu wrapper, you could set the opacity to 100% in the first click, so we wouldn't need to set it here in the second click, but those are interchangeable. I think it works well if you set the opacity for the second click rather than the first click. Either way, it works. So I'll click, it comes in, click again, fades out, I click, it comes in, click again, it fades out. And that's it. So there's just a few little tiny styling things that we can do now. For the menu item text, we can change the hover state. So I'll click on hover for the states. And for the hover state, I'll give it the color blue. And then for the social media icon, for the color, I'll give it an opacity of 20 for that border radius. And on the hover state, we'll bring it back to a color of the opacity back to 100%. So when we hover, we have a little hover animation. So I'll click. When I hover over the menu items, they turn blue. And when I hover the social media icons, the circle becomes a bit more solid. So it has a nice little hover effect, and you can link these out to anything. You can link out these latest topics to a CMS blog, or you could, if you had a CMS collection in Webflow, you could link these topics out to those CMS collections, and you can link out these link blocks to anything as well. All right, so I covered a lot of information. I only made a few mistakes that I'm going to edit. You didn't see that, so there's just maybe 2. But yeah, it was more of a relaxed video where I kind of talked a lot. But yeah, I want this to be more of an open dialogue. I do want you to become proficient in using Webflow. It's such an amazing tool. I love it, especially with using CSS Grid and Flexbox. It's unlimited what you can do. So yeah, I'll be doing these every day, or I have been doing these every day. So I need to cut myself a bit of slack and just, have fun with it and have it be more of an open dialogue with you. And yeah, let's build beautiful websites in Webflow. Okay, so yeah, that's it for daily interaction number 37. There's not going to be a music version of this just because there's so much content in it. I feel you do need to hear me talking about it just to cover some of the more specific topics and the different layout options that I covered in this tutorial. All right, so yeah, let me go back to the demo here and let's cook. So I click, the menu opens, I click again, it fades out. And perfect. Looks good. Yeah, so that is it for daily interaction number 37. To view more daily interactions and premium content, visit webdevforyou.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next daily interaction.